John Marshall's thoughts and views on the case Marbury v. Madison have become known worldwide as a vital part of constitutionalism. The idea of common law goes far back in time. In the case, Madison was found mistaken in that he should have given Marshall the commission for secretary. The court, though, did not make Madison give Marbury the commission and decided that the Judiciary Act of 1789, which allowed Marbury to bring forward his case in the first place, was unconstitutional. Now, original jurisdiction is when the higher court's decision overrules that of a smaller court. In this case, a trial court must have heard Marshall v. Marbury before the Marbury v. Madison before the Supreme Court could hear it. This decision made by the Supreme Court is original jurisdiction. All these factors bring judicial review into play, and it could be said that this case and Marshall's thoughts are the most important pieces of this idea.
In writing the decision of the case in Marbury v. Madison, John Marshall argued that the judiciary system's first response is to uphold the Constitution. If two laws conflict, it is the judiciary that bears the responsibility of deciding which law to be applied in any given case. John Marshall stated that it is emphatically the province and duty of the judicial department to say what the law is. Judicial review is the review by the Supreme Court of the constitutional validity of the legislative act.
In John Marshall's opinion, he believed judges are in the best position to declare the meaning of the Constitution because he had a mindset of strengthening the courts. The power of judicial review puts a further check on the legislative and executive branches, making sure the laws they create are in fact constitutional. The reason that judges are in the best position to interpret the Constitution is in Article 3 of the Constitution. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall, at stated times, receive for their services a compensation, which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. This quote states that as long as the judges obey their oaths, they remain in office. They are in the best position because they have knowledge of the Constitution that no other Americans may have.
The Anti-Federalists have reservations against judicial review. In Anti-Federalist Essay 11, it states, "They will have the precedent to plead to justify them in it." It is well known that the courts in England have by their own authority extended their jurisdiction far beyond the limits set for them in their original institution and by the law of the land. The Anti-Federalists feared a much too powerful national government, and they believed that more power should be reserved for the states. The Anti-Federalists were very strongly against ratification without a Bill of Rights protecting our natural rights.
Most recently, Amendment 64 was passed for the use of marijuana in Colorado on November 6, 2012. Governor John Hickenlooper reacted to passage A64 that Tuesday night. This will be a complicated process, but we intend to follow through. That said, federal law still says marijuana is an illegal drug, so don't break out the Cheetos or Goldfish too quickly.
Federal law supersedes new state law by the Supremacy Clause. That means federal agents could bring charges against anyone in the state who possesses marijuana. The question is, will the federal government stop Colorado from legalizing marijuana? The answer, it's unclear. Law enforcers say it's possible, but we have to wait and see if they decide to use judicial review to decide legality.
In the Supreme Court case Brown v. Board of Education, the justice overturned the decision, separate but equal, established in Plessy v. Ferguson. The 14th Amendment in the Constitution states, "No state shall make any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of the citizens of the United States." This separate but equal policy abridged privileges of African Americans by making them to be the only race forced to use separate facilities.
If it were not for the idea and usage of judicial review, American schools may not have seen action on a desegregation of schools for decades. Another part of the amendment states, nor to deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Equal protection should be every citizen receiving the same rights. In the end, judicial review is both necessary and advantageous to ensure equal rights. It may have its disadvantages, but is more so helpful than hurtful in our opinions. If judicial review wasn't used, the courts would have little or no power in today's society.
Okay. So you're at 5.